Number 5, last topic for tonight. Should read topic number 5 says, why can't we have more of these in our communities? And this takes us to YouTube as well. Only thing that's working for me tonight. Let's watch the video. It's short, minute and a half, and then we'll discuss it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chattahoochee Hills Charter School. I'm Kendall. I've been a student here since kindergarten. Today, we're going to show you all of our great aspects of the school. Let's go.
This is the greenhouse. Everyone is responsible for planting, growing, and harvesting a variety of fruits and vegetables, along with other edible plants. On to the next spot.
Next up, we have our art class. With a focus in the arts, our students engage in our visual arts program where they learn how to draw, paint, design, and other visual art aspects.
Let's go to the trail. A great thing about our school is that we have nature trails. Our trails can provide information about the environment, its changes, and what we're learning in the classroom. Now let's go to the farm.
This is our farm. After seeds have grown to seedlings, we transport them to the farm to be harvested. In our agriculture class, we learn about the essentials of farming for a bountiful harvest.
And finally, this is where we eat lunch. You can hang out with friends, you can relax on the hammocks, or you can play a quick game of basketball on our court. There are various sports you can play using our court and field.
And that's it. You can definitely tell Chad runs in his very own unique way. We learn more about art, agriculture, and environment, and that's because learning's in our nature.
Pretty cool. So why can't we have more of these in our communities? And again, if you add this to the micro communities we talked about, you add this to the hydroponics we talked about in the past, I think we could actually do some good things in our communities. Why don't we have these in our community? Let me start with Oni. Oni, what would you say?
Well, I mean, it looks like we have those, but I think if you're talking about, it depends on what country you're talking about, but that's what it comes back to. It's like if you're in another person's country, they have a lot of say on what you can build and how you can build it, and of course you have to move a certain way. I remember when Umar was talking about building a school, and shortly after he announced what school he was interested in, somebody else buys it up. Now, maybe it was a coincidence that somebody else bought it up at the time that he announces it. I don't know, but because in retrospect, he took a really long time to get a school up. But all the same, it's like, yeah. I think it comes back to this hostile environment kind of thing that I kind of go over. I kind of repeat, which is in a hostile environment, you're going to have greater trouble trying to get things done. You have to build things within the law, within the legal system, and that legal system is sometimes going to be arbitrary depending upon who you're up against. So one of the queens of education, why do I remember her? What was her name? I think it's like starts with a C or something. But
Sizemore.
Come again?
Barbara Sizemore?
No, not Barbara Sizemore. This lady made a school in her like she had like a upper floor. Cicely Tyson did a movie with her, a movie of her. I know Anthony. Yeah. You remember the sister's name? But anyway, she's this brilliant educator, and what happened was while she was doing her education or what have you, she's up in her upper floor, and some firefighters come along and say, "Oh, you're not up to code." And then fortunately she was able to talk her way out of that whole thing. But like that's a real story that just keeps on recurring like I keep hearing the same story of firefighters coming to shut down black businesses, allegedly for fire code violations when there's no fire code violation. You know, a lot of times it's a bribe involved, and a lot of times it's just, oh, we just don't want black people doing stuff. And whatever we report as the fire department goes, it's law, you know? So it's like white people have a lot of ways to shut you down. And on top of that, if you do anything, and white people also have a lot of laws in place such that they can shut you down or they can infiltrate you and sabotage you. You know, there's a sister, in fact, um, I guess she passed away now. Oh, Ollie McLean. She was in Brooklyn, and she had an independent black school. And what happened was that some, you know, a black youth, you know, alleged that. Well, actually, no, I actually didn't hear the story because you know the sister didn't want to repeat it. So I guess I really shouldn't repeat it either. But you know, from what I could gather, maybe a student lied about something that might have happened at the school, or you know, as far as I can gather, the student probably lied about something that happened at the school, or that's the community idea. But regardless, that student could brought some legal attention to Ollie McLean to the point where her school never really got much success afterward. You know, like basically the media went against her, and you know some people like I told you guys I had an elder in the community. So some people suspect that the student's grandmother had a certain role and so on and so forth. Now I don't want to say this because I don't know really the nature of that. You know, that was before my time. And maybe there was a legitimate gripe. I don't know. But regardless, it's like, yeah, if you're in a situation or you're in a system that's hostile to you, anybody can infiltrate you, right? You have very little legal protection for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? And that's why I say, if you really are trying, like for instance, you could build a really good school in America, right? Or actually, matter of fact, this is actually a true story. There was that brother, the young conservative brother who builds a nice school, and then somebody in the community attacks it, and if he didn't have the ability to appeal to other people to try to restore what was stolen, he would have just lost it all. Now, luckily, he's able to appeal to a broader audience to get what it is. But the reality is that a lot of, like, if you're going the 100% black route, 100%, I only want black folk to do this kind of stuff. One, you're not going to get that legal protection. So somebody can come into your building, steal some stuff, walk away, and sabotage your economic, your endeavor. But it's just a long list of, yeah, you're in this hostile land where you're not going to have those legal protections. And because you're not going to have those legal protections, anybody, if you don't have legal protections, let's just face it, you might have a tougher life than you bargained for, especially if you're trying to do something economic, right? If you don't have those kind of protections, that's what it is. And black folk, particularly black nationalists, right? The black Pan-Africanists, you don't have legal protections in America. And that's what the Africa Stream conversation was about. And that's what, that's what everything is pointing towards. If you do go the, like the black conservative route, or you go, even worse than that, like a black coon route or something like that, you might get some legal protection. But like at what cost? That's it.
Only if you don't mind, let me ask you two questions. Well, one of them you could say pass to if it's too personal. First, in your time in Tanzania, have you seen any endeavors like this one where local children are being connected to their culture, but also being connected to their environment in this nature? Number one. Number two, now that you're in Tanzania, I know when you're in stateside, you homeschool your son. Is your son going to go to a Tanzanian school now that you're on the continent?
Oh yeah, yeah. So my son's now inside of I don't call it the public school system. I just call it the school system. In Tanzania, it's good. It's excellent. As far as are there like schools with like high technology and high cost? Yeah, but again, you'd probably have to go to, like, I'm not inside the rich area. You probably have to be inside of the rich area. But there's a whole bunch of like there's different types of schools, here in Tanzania. So they have like I think they call them like American schools, where they have like the American curriculum. They have the local schools, which is like the regular school that most people will go to. They even have what they call African schools, which it's kind of weird because we're in Africa. I don't remember what's the purpose of that, but I feel like like some of the schools, basically some schools will teach you English, some schools will teach you Swahili, right? And I think, and then of course there are religious schools, all that kind of stuff. The reality is that most anybody could open up a school. It's just going to cost you, the cost of the building and the cost of the equipment. But like most anybody can open up a school, and a lot of people take that opportunity, and particularly a lot of Black people take that opportunity, and that's really what it comes to. So it's like, I mean, obviously, you're probably not going to get this. I mean, I don't know, like the rich students, like rich people will probably have a bunch of rich facilities. And of course, like I remember I was dating this teacher one time, and she was inside of what they call an international school, where a lot of students are going for that, international type curriculum. But of course, I'm not trying to go for no American curriculum, so that's why I didn't go to those schools. But and of course, they cost a whole bunch of money.
I
But
don't.
yeah,
I don't mean to cut your kinks and bobble, but is your son learning Kiswahili as well, like in the schools that he's going to? Is he learning that language?
yeah. So it's more like a class as opposed to like all the instruction is done in Kiswahili. So the instructions are done in English, but there's a Kiswahili class. Now, does he pass it? No, but the language is hard. But yeah, he gets to learn, like he gets to learn it as an extra class. And I mean I
That's
mostly
awesome.
do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mostly do that because, like, if he was an entirely like all instruction was done in Swahili, he would just be at a huge disadvantage um, to other students. But also, what's interesting too is that in this country, you could just opt out of, well, because he's not a citizen, I guess. You could just opt out of like the final grading and just kind of like pass, pretty much. So, although I probably shouldn't have said that, but maybe I
Does
should have
he
taken that
have?
back.
Does he
But yeah.
have? Only does he have? Does he have friends who speak the language?
Which
Because
language?
he'll be able
Swahili?
to pick it up faster. Yeah, he'll
Oh
be able
yeah,
to
but
pick it up
everybody speaks
faster.
Swahili in Tanzania. So like everybody speaks Swahili.
Okay,
But
so he'll be able to pick
yeah,
it up faster that way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. But it's yeah, I guess.
I appreciate that, Oni. Jose in the chat said, my son is on a private school and still 40 plus in one classroom. That's interesting. By the way, it was Marva Collins. The matron came through with we did discuss
Yeah,
our
true,
trips
true.
recently. Yeah, Marva Collins.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it,
so
sis.
thanks for that, Oni, as well. And thanks, matrons, for that as well. Buana, what say you to what you saw here?
No, these are beautiful American kids. The onus is on their parents for after they leave these institutions, these beautiful institutions, to have a soft landing. And what I mean by that is they need to prepare them, have them with jobs, opportunities that'll be able to that they could come into after they finish these kinds of rigorous kinds of education and training. You know, you have to give them a salary at the end of this kind of education. So if the onus is on the parents to make sure that happens, whether it's through them being able to establish their own selves in business. So at the time that they finish, they could get a legitimate salary of all this education and make their own businesses better, make their parents' businesses better after receiving this kind of level of education. That has always been my mentality as far as even though I get there yet, that my nieces and nephews will be able to, or my own children be able to build off of something that I've been doing while they was in school. No, this is carrying on tradition, like Donald Trump and his father. After Donald Trump graduated from his prestigious universities, he was able to fall into the kind of training and education that his father gave him an outside world, and was able to produce money from these kinds of education and experiences, and that's the onus on us. I love the children. The children, my niece. When I look at these kids, I see my nieces and nephews. I ready to reach in my pocket and give them money. You know what I mean? But that's free money. So with all this education, they should be able to have a level of sophistication that will be able to improve whatever businesses the adults to develop or been developing all the time these children were in school. So make your own industries and idea of education and training. You have to build your community and make your community better. So I say while they're in school educating themselves, the adults supposed to be on the outside, in the outside world, acting almost like savages to make sure that when the kids graduate, they'll have a soft landing and say, well, come into my business and tell me all the education you learn, how I can improve my business and make my business better. So because we are supposed to be competitors, not using this information to go and give it to some other group of people. But that's a whole other discussion. But I'll leave it there, Coco.
I appreciate that, Buana. By the way, shout out to Queen Taste. I interviewed her. Some of you might remember. She does the African Center School. Afro Native World, who's usually in the chat, is an instructor with them. I'm pretty sure I saw a video where she was on the continent, maybe Ghana. She was in Ghana, and I think she was going through some of the school systems, or going through a
She's in
school
South
system there. I'm sorry, Anthony. So what?
She's in South Africa now.
Oh, okay. So shout out to her on the continent doing, continuing that work that she does. With that said, Anthony, what say you to why can't we have more of these in our communities?
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Cool. Like I said, Queen Thais is in. I communicated with her. She's in South Africa now, and she's networking over there and trying to. She's working with some brothers and sisters over there in the African Center School, curriculum too over there, and she's trying to bridge the gap. With a diaspora thing, African to African thing. She did a video on IG that I was checking out, man, and I texted her, and she texted me back, man, and she was kind of enlightened me and gave me a little information on what she was doing. So yeah, she's over in South Africa right now. But okay, but yeah, that's I think it's a great thing, and I think that there are more of them than we would think that we get credit for. In Atlanta, I mean, I know y'all have heard of the Occupant Institute with Dr. Maolemo Baruti, but there are actually several African Center charter schools in the Atlanta metro area. I mean, charter schools, believe it or not, there are actually several charter schools with African Center curriculum. No, all black charter schools with African Center curriculum. And it's almost kind of like, how they had those Saturday schools, how, okay, you got the mainstream education, but then you come here to get that African centered education. But actually, they have several of them there. And they also have one, you have Nation House in Washington, D.C. And you have the Uhuru Academy, Baba Amin, them down in North Carolina. So, so they're doing something down there. And brother Kamali, he has his thing in New Orleans. Now he's back and forth between Louisiana and the continent because he goes to Ghana a lot. But they do actually have something on the ground in New Orleans at the Kamali Academy. But one person who I think we need to get a little bit more learn a little bit more about, or shine a little bit more light, is brother Obafemi Kinsia Delele. He has a whole. They don't have a school. No, he works it hand in hand with Baba Mawalimo there. But I'm saying he has the community garden thing up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You know, I mean, it's a considerable movie. It's I can't. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's I got it on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, he do the community garden thing up there. A black, it's a black collective, and he worked with a group of people.
Anthony,
They do.
Anthony, I thought she was gonna say, I thought she was gonna mention the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Fake School in Delaware.
Yeah, you better stop playing with me. But yeah, but now he got his thing up just like it's a community garden thing program where he does a lot of things up there. I've been communicating with him lately. We try to get some off the ground. But yeah, we have a number of these African Center schools, man. Like you said, Queen Thais and our organization. There are several others that I ran across. I've been hooking up with, trying to learn, get some lowdown information on them. But what I wanted to say is, Koku had asked a question to Oni. They just opened up. It was a couple of years ago. They just opened up the first Afrocentric curriculum school in Kenya. It's in Kenya. They just opened it. It's been in operation about 2 or 3 years. It is an Afrocentric school where they teach, African culture and everything. Not that mainstream, culture that they get, educational system that they get from England. They teach Afrocentric culture, African-centered culture, and also they teach the children about nature, about the environment, about growing gardens and stuff, all of that stuff that we're talking about. And it's about his sister Nduku. I told you she's her husband. They like started. They like the co-producers of it, and like she's been here. Over here, she's been here based in the States for a minute. Her husband is over there. They running the school. But she's been doing some things over here. But yeah, they have an Afrocentric school in Kenya. And they incorporate KWAZ and all that stuff. They do a whole lot. Excuse me. And one more, it's a brother in Ghana he's a Caribbean brother. I think he's from Jamaica. It's either he's from Jamaica or he might be from like St. Lucia somewhere. But he's a brother from the Caribbean, and he has built, and I've seen it. I've seen his video on YouTube. He was featured on Ekal Simpson and Wody Maya. He's built an African Center school in Ghana. And it's a beautiful school too, man. And they teach it's beautiful education, man. African Center education from everything, from spirituality to plants, to the environment, to all of that. They even have like computer stuff and all of the technical stuff that our children gonna need to advance in the future. They teach all of that, man. It's a brother. He's an older brother. He's probably around close to 60. But he has a beautiful school, man, that he's opened up in Ghana. It's a beautiful school. You got African teachers, brothers and sisters who he's training, to carry it on even after him, man. It's a beautiful school. It's in Ghana. And the brother, he's a Caribbean brother. So yeah, yeah, we have some stuff, man. I don't know, y'all. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Anthony. Feel better as well. Peace to Frenchie.
Frenchie, could you come on? Could you click the link? Yeah, sorry, Koku. Frenchie, could you click the link and come on and say a few words based off of what you heard so far, sister? Just a few words, because we're about to close out.
Appreciate that, Buana. Yeah, Frenchie dropped a comment in the chat last week. So I know she was invited or introduced to us by Buana. So Frenchie, if you click the link, we're about to lock off, but if you click the link, you could join and say a few words as Buana stated. We welcome you. Last but not least, our brother Black Steel has been patiently waiting, but I left Black Steel for last. Being that he's a teacher, I wanted to get his take on it. By the way, shout out to the young sister in this video who giving them work in the post, by the way. I just want to shout that out. But Black Steel, what say you?
Well, the question is, why can't we have more of this in our community? So I will respond to that question with another question. Who's going to pay for it? So a lot of people have issues with charter schools. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one is that depending on your state, they don't really necessarily have to hire certified teachers in charter schools. They can just grab anybody who wants to teach. That's one thing. And I'm not saying that's the case with this school, but many times what happens is that they're not really regulated. So they don't have to follow state educational standards. So they're public schools, which mean they're supposed to take everybody, but then many charter schools, because they don't have facilities for students with disabilities, they don't really have an option for them. They're supposed to be taxpayer funded school. And what happens is that these charter schools take money from the public schools. So what happens is that certain kids whose parents are able to afford the charter school are getting a better education than the rest of the kids who are going to public school. But they can still charge for stuff. They can charge for textbooks and gym fees to cover supplies and stuff like that. So a lot of there's it's not a clear, oh, why don't we have this? How are we going to afford it? And unfortunately, especially in the US, your schools go by your tax base. So if you live in an affluent community, you're going to have better schools. Unfortunately, most Black people don't live in affluent communities. So our schools don't have that tax base that you would think to have. So again, the question is, who is going to pay for this wonderful facility that has agriculture and art and learning, and they teach you to play the violin, and they got judo lessons, and all of this, teach you how to play the drum. That's great. But then you have the issue, like I was saying, who's gonna pay for all of this? Most people are going to be able to afford a home or a school like this in an impoverished community. I think all of these things are great. I'm not saying these things are bad things. I just really want to address the question, which is why we can't have these in our communities, because they're expensive. And I think the cost of it is going to be borne. I mean, many times in charter schools, there's usually a wealthy benefactor. Like for example, LeBron James has his school, but LeBron James is wealthy. He's a rich man. He can afford to, pay for a school. Hell, look at Kanye open a charter school. We see how that went. But was Kanye hiring certified teachers? Was he hiring people who even had a college degree? you know? So I just think that these schools are great, but I think that it does siphon money away from the public schools. And I think a lot of people, because our public schools are in such disrepair, you have issues with the many schools don't have air conditioning or you don't have heating. Dealing with rats. I remember we had a rat in culinary one time. It was crazy. But I think that's why. It's just these schools are great, but they're not cheap, and we have to see who's gonna carry that cost for those schools. So I'll leave it there. Thanks.
I'd like to say something.
So Black Steel. Yeah, go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Bonnie. You go first. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
No, yeah, I have a question. In looking at the school right now, because it's interesting to get a teacher's perspective. So in looking at the school right now, basically the parents who were able to facilitate this kind of school, these are wealthier Black American people, more professional Black American people making 6 figures a year. They're able to facilitate a school like this, or they would have had like a wealthy benefactor, like what you would have said just now. How do you see the school itself? How is this done? Yeah.
I definitely think there's some money behind this. I would want to know where the school is. Like, is it in because if it's somewhere like in Prince George's County, Maryland, which is the wealthiest group of Black people in the United States live in that zip code. Someplace Atlanta, some more affluent areas. I think there's definitely some money behind this. And a lot of times for these charter schools, you get an audition. You have to actually go, or there's a lottery that you can win to get into because they don't have space for everybody. So a lot of kids are going to be left out. Only a few are going to have access to this. So yeah, I definitely think that some money is behind this.
Anthony, I think you want to ask a question. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, okay. I was just gonna say, okay, it's always like the old folks say, it's always another way to skin a cat. Okay, we don't necessarily. Oh, in the first place, let's say one thing. Okay, we talking about charter school. Okay, I get it about charter schools. I get it about that. You know, I was just when I made an example about an African Center charter school in Atlanta. You know, I also said, believe it or not, a charter school, which I couldn't believe. But they have several African Center charter schools there in the Atlanta area. But what I'm saying is this: okay, the public school system anyway is really the public food system anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. I mean, it's really one of the main things that's brainwashing our black children right now. So what I'm saying is this: being that there is more than one way to skin a cat, we got brilliant educators like Black Steel, like Koku, and like other brothers and sisters who are educators. We got an institution called a Black Church. You know what I'm saying? And on the weekends, like they had them Saturday schools in the UK, on the weekends, we could volunteer some of our time and make time and volunteer some of our time. Hey, bring our children to the churches. We got churches everywhere. Let's bring our children to the churches and let's teach them something right there. Queen Thais, you know, she do it. I mean, she don't go get funding from nobody. Not the white folks. She get it from the community, if anything. Brother Mawalimo Baruti, the same thing. He don't get no funding. But I'm saying we could do it ourselves. We don't have to have a grandiose idea like Brother Umar, where I'm gonna go and build a school and knowing that it's gonna cost this money and where I'm gonna get the funding from. We could be like Cape Mod and whatever. Hey, we could do school in our houses. You know what I'm saying? On the weekend or after school, and provide that supplementary education, that education that our black children need. Because you know, like you and Koku read, you know, the public school system can't educate our children anyway. I mean, the education that they're giving is foolery anyway. It's up to us. Only we can educate our people. Man, I'm sorry, y'all. Only we can educate our damn children. You know what I'm saying? And there's many ways we can do it. Like I say, we can go to the churches. We got all kind of organizations. We throw 4th of July picnics and everything in parks all across our community. Hey, let's put some of that foolishness out the way. And on a Saturday or Sunday, whatever, bring our children out and let's talk to them. And let's educate them ourselves. It don't necessarily have to be, well, who's gonna fund it? I'm not jamming at nobody. But I'm just saying that could be for free. Hey, back in the 60s, they had what? They had community universities. We can have community universities now. I mean, if our children are the future, we got to treat it like that. We got to treat them like they're the future. You know what I'm saying? And we got to get out there and do it. You know, we got to educate. We got plenty of teachers. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to get out there and do it ourselves. Hey, let me set a little bit of my time aside and go out. Even if you start just teaching your children at home. I'm getting Mika, my sister-in-law. She started to think about it now. She's getting serious on her mind. Man, I'm going to start teaching my children at home. All of us need to do that. To teach number one, it's more safer. We ain't got to worry about our children getting shot or no bullshit popping off. You know what I'm saying? But we need to educate our own children. Even if, for a few hours, whatever, you know, teaching them the stuff that we know that they need to know to help them to survive as African children, as African people. We can do it ourselves, man. It don't always take a lot of money. It damn sure don't take no government money, because you somebody getting money from the government, then you still gonna be doing what you're already doing. You know, teaching their curriculum. We want to teach our curriculum. So I let it off right there. I know we for time, man. This cold killing me. I'm sorry, y'all.
Nah, no problem whatsoever. If there's no last thoughts, I'll just read a couple of things from the chat. The matron says they also didn't mention math and science. That was interesting to me as well. Real Black Gentleman said we almost need to bring back the schoolmaster generals. Okay. Joe said it was a full agreement with Anthony saying preach. Word. So Frenchie didn't make it up tonight. She didn't know much about the topic that we were discussing. I'm not sure where Frenchie is in the world, but I'm sure there's something to be said about that part of the world. But it's okay. Real Black Gentleman said he never got.
Yeah, she's in the UK. She's in the UK, Koku. She's a Cameroonian. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Real Black Gentleman said he never got judo lessons in charter school. So yeah, so that's all the topics for tonight. I appreciate all of you who joined in tonight. I'm sorry about some of the technical difficulties, but I was able to work around it and get 5 topics out there for us to discuss. Trigger Happy made this comment. I'll read it. He said, wealth seems to be the theme of this stream tonight, but that's why ideology becomes important, because many with wealth will hoard it at the disadvantage of others. And that's something for us to think about as well. There's things we can do, man. We could do things on a small level, be it a small home, be it a small school, what have you. And we just got to go out there and do it. We can't be held back by whataboutism. And I think that's a lot of what we do. Before we leave the panel tonight and the chat, I'd like to get a positive shout out. I know my shout out is to Oni, but let's get some positive shout outs before we leave. Let me start with Anthony because he doesn't feel well. Anthony, what's your positive shout out for this week?
Man, my positive shout out is just being for being able to be on the show tonight, man. I didn't know if I was gonna make it because I was kind of bad for a minute, but I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here with the brothers. I'm glad to impart some of what I know, and I'm glad to learn from y'all what I can learn from y'all. And I just love it, man. I love coming on the program. I hope I'm always welcome. And I just want to say just one thing, Cuckoo. Did you? I was kind of messing with you a little bit. I sent you that little video from Prime Minister Linda Taylor. Did you get it?
No, I didn't get it yet. I'll check it right after the show's done.
Yeah, I sent it on. He actually was talking some good stuff too, man. But yeah, check it out when you get a chance to. Hey man, right, peace to all the brothers, man. Peace to all the brothers.
Yeah. Peace to you too, and feel better. Let me hear from Oni next. Oni, what would you like to shout out?
Well, I'll shout out you guys, obviously, because really great program as usual. I was kind of jelly I couldn't make it the last programs, but it's not like but I'm glad I could come through. But also, I'm gonna shout out my lady. I can't cap. She came through with this internet. For some reason, I was trying to get this socialist, some socialist internet. I guess the government brand internet. They was taking 9 damn months or some shit, and they was just, well, don't worry, man, it's gonna be soon. It's gonna be soon. And then she came along and said, look, if you just pay, I think it was like $10 more, you get internet next week. And so, I paid $10 more a month, but I got internet, and it's not bad. It's not like I was glitching as much as I expected. So, I'll shout out the lady. I'll shout out the missus. But also you guys, so it is what it is. But that's it. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Oni. It's good to know you got the internet. I saw you did a show earlier today. I didn't get to catch it yet. I'll check it out tomorrow. But make sure you guys are tuned in to Oni, the Pro Black Perspective, here on YouTube as well. With that said, let me hear from Black Steel. Black Steel, what would you like to shout out this week?
I want to shout out my neighbors. So as you guys probably know, there was a bad storm that hit my neighborhood. There was some flooding. I was okay, but now there's another storm I think it's called Mitch or something like that. I don't know. But it's another storm headed this way, and we're just recovering from the last one. But there's another storm out there in the Gulf of Mexico that's probably heading this way too. So it's forecasted to be at least a Category 3 when it hits, but it definitely does have the entire state of Florida in its sight. So I just want to give a shout out to my neighbors who, they really endured a lot recently. FEMA's out here that they set up at the local park not too long ago, trying to help people recover from the storm. But yeah, man, we're resilient people, and I think we're gonna make it through. But just gotta button down for another storm. You know, all these storms are coming back to back. It's really, I mean, between the storms coming, between potential for a nuclear war over there in the Middle East. I don't know. My grandma might have been onto something when she talk about living the last days. But shout out to my neighbors.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. Yeah, be safe out there. That's one thing with America, just real quick. You can't really avoid stuff in America. Either you're going to be around tornadoes, wildfires, extreme, cold weather, or hurricanes. You're going to be around something. And Trigger Happy put it in the chat. He said, yeah, climate change is real. We got to stop dancing around that. Last but not least is Buana. Buana, what would you like to shout this week?
Yes. So first, let me say that Anthony, I hope you get better soon, brother. There is something called Cersei. Cersei, CERASEE. You could probably get it in a tea form. Look in the tea section, at Walmart, and I want you to get something called Cersei, and I want you to drink that as a tea next week for the whole week. Drink that as a tea for next week, and hopefully that'll clear up a lot of the phlegm that's going on in your throat. So look up this thing called Cersei, CERASEE. Look it up in Walmart or something like that.
I got you, bro.
Right?
I got you.
Yes, sir. So Black Steel. My brothers in South Carolina, they get hit. Well, North Carolina get hit hard. So our thoughts are with you in South Florida, because we know you all dealing with the hurricanes. Hopefully this hurricane miss us too, because it usually comes to us before it gets to you all. But hopefully that we miss this hurricane, and hopefully you all miss it too and go somewhere else. But I hope you're safe, and I hope your family is good as well. I hope you're living well. Another thing too is, Oni, congratulations to you again, brother. I know that you will do the right thing in Tanzania. I know you'll be a great man in Tanzania. You're just scoping out things, and I know you're in the so-called third world now, so things don't function like how it's functioning in the so-called first world. But I know you will figure it out. You're a brilliant brother, and you will figure it out, bro. Lastly, for Frenchie, the only thing I have to say is, j'espère que vous venir la prochaine fois. Make sure come next time, and add to the conversation so we could build. And because you are a brilliant sister, and I think that you do have something to contribute to the brothers on the panel. So hopefully you come on next time earlier. We usually come on at 8 p.m. and we go until 11. So hopefully you come on and give us a lot of your opinions and ideas in terms of what's happening in the African and Black world. But I'll leave it there, Coco.
All right. Trigger Ivy 262 Plus says he just got a notification that the oldest person in Mali is 112. So that's pretty good. Frenchie says absolutely. Yeah, that's the show for tonight. We should be back next week, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys, I want you guys to all be good. Anthony, you want to add something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Oni, and we're going to be praying for you, Black Steel, you and all your people, man.
Absolutely. So I'll see you guys next week. You guys in the chat, be good. If you're listening to the playback, drop some comments. We kind of don't get a lot of comments after the show, but it'll be great to get some comments. Drop some comments. And until next time, you guys be good. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.